guys, how's it going? And welcome back, and welcome to the review on the 2009, mid-2009, 17-inch MacBook Pro. I got this thing a while back from my dad. I've been using it off and on, you know, not full-time or anything, but enough to know what's happening with it, and before and after effects of RAM upgrade. This thing came with 4 gigs of RAM in it, and a half a terabyte hard drive. It's got half a gig of NVIDIA video. It's got a FireWire port in it, 3 USB ports, an Ethernet port, which is gigabyte. It's got a mini video port in it. It's got headphone jack, microphone jack, or line in, line outs. Okay, you can use them either way. There is a microphone built in by one of the speakers here on the left side. It's got an iSight camera in it that can do 1080p. It's actually got quite a nice picture. I actually run my camera even on my iMac at full maximum quality. So, hi! Okay, you can see me there. There you go. Okay, we'll disappear now on you. Bye! Alright, so, the Mac itself is a great little computer. I'm using this to run my studio equipment now. I used to use it, just my iMac, but then I got this and I thought, hey, let's free up the iMac, shift all my studio software to it, and use this thing, because this thing does it great. But I can still use this with every single way I use my iMac, with the exception, I do not run Windows 10 on this thing, where I do on my iMac. I don't do a lot of video processing. I found that with even with VideoPad Editor, which is a very quick program compared to iMovie, of course much easier to use too, I use it on my iMac, processing a video in the main program itself is much slower than my iMac. If my iMac is doing something else, or I want to do something else on it, then at least I can process a video on this and then upload it straight to my YouTube channel, because I have both computers set up with Google Chrome, which also is nice because they feed off each other. So if I put a new favorite in or take a favorite out, it affects both computers at the same time, even if one of them's turned off. So when I turn the other one back on, it's already been pre-done. It's like, you know, I like Chrome. Chrome's nice. It's a very fast browser. But anyways, display preferences, 17-inch, blah, blah, blah. Memory tells you, you know, I got 2 4-gig SIMs, and that's all the slots I have is 2. Now, you can use third-party RAM and go beyond 8 gigs, but you chance cooking your machine if you do that. It's not an advisable thing to do, but you can do it. Doesn't mean you should. You know, some people have had good luck, other people not so good. And if you want to avoid voiding your warranty, stick with what Apple says to use in it, because they will not support your warranty if you do stuff that is against the warranties. For full specs, just go in here and click. So when you're on the Apple menu, you go about this Mac, and it brings up this program here. It tells you everything, including service stuff. You can get information about your warranty, OS X support for the computer, which they need to update some of this too, because now you can actually download and run Mac OS High Sierra on this thing, according to the App Store. So if you go into the App Store, your Mac has been evaluated. Free upgrade to Mac OS High Sierra. So I can actually install High Sierra in this thing, and no patch required either anymore. There used to be where you'd have to do a patch. Now, I've not done the High Sierra upgrade. I'm running Yosemite, the most current version actually of Yosemite. I always call it Yosemite sometimes, but whatever. 10116 El Capitan, and it's current. It's right up to date. So it's still a current operating system by Apple, which is great. Now, it says this article has been archived and is no longer updated by Apple. Well, so they're not updating the specs anymore for this than what they show. Because if you look in here, where is it? It does have airport access, by the way, for your iDevices. I have an iMac, an iPad, an iPhone 6, and of course my MacBook Pro. So I'm kind of like an iGuy. So I don't have an iBook yet. Anyways, There was something in here I was looking for. Probably not going to find it. Now, under accessories, there's other accessories you can get, and this is just basic Apple stuff. There are other accessories you can get as well. Apple Care Protection Plan, Final Cut Express, Logic Express, iWork 9, blah blah blah, Apple Remote. There's actually a remote for this thing. It's kind of cool. Okay, so this is not gonna. I'm not finding what I'm. Oh, there it is. Software, Mac OS X 10.5 Leopard. Okay, that's what comes with this thing. Okay, and so I went from Leopard and I upgraded right into Yosemite, which was not a big, huge feat to do. I actually have a video on how to do it, and it doesn't cost you a penny either. Anyways, so they talk about operating temperatures and elevation and so on. Surfing with this thing, though, it surfs really well. You can't really complain here as far as the way it surfs. The better, faster connection you have, the better. We live out in the country. The Rocket Hub, you know, I mean, we're 2 degrees access on the dish away from us. The nearest tower is like 8 clicks, and we still surf quite quickly, even on this thing. It surfs quite nice, you know, so I can't complain. Even for running videos on YouTube. Let's go to my channel, to one of my videos. You can see I'm just boogieing around stuff, and it's keeping up. It's doing a rather quick job. 9-inch bandsaw. This is my most current video I uploaded. Buffering time is minimal. I want to skip.
Good quality saw.
Just a short little buffer. Just a short one.
Change I made. This thing.
I can do this with any of my videos. It's going to be just as quick.
Pieces, but
okay.
You got another way to do that. Will you be okay?
So surfing is really nice. Getting through YouTube videos, it streams them just fine. There's no problems there whatsoever. You know, unless your internet connection happens to suck at the time, well then it'll slow stuff down. But you know, or if you have a really crappy internet package. We tend to go for the fastest packages that we can possibly afford. With the Rocket Hub, it's just one package, period. It's like super hyper speed. We tested the Rocket Hub, actually even with my iMac, about a month before we moved here into the country. And we were 1,000 feet from the nearest tower, okay? And I was able to upload a 650 megabyte file in like 2 minutes flat. 650 megs. I was like, wow, that's faster than Bell Vibe can even pull off, man. You know, out in the country though, that same size file would take a couple hours, just because of how far away we are. The dish for the Rogers thingamabob stuff is 2 degrees off away from us. We have bush in the way, especially during the summer, because all the leaves are on the trees and stuff, and we're down in a valley too on top of that, so we're very low elevated. You know, so it's kind of really not the world's best setup in that sense, because by the time you get to where the tower is, it actually even drops further below us in a sense. But it's kind of the way it works. It's kind of a really screwed up system, but nonetheless, I think we do pretty good considering. You know. And this thing does quite well. And also when you consider the fact we have a lot of devices here. We have my wife's tower. She feeds an Ethernet connection off the hub, or off the hub, the Rocket Hub, because it has one Ethernet port in it. I do everything wireless. She does. She has her iPhone. I have my iPhone. They're connected all the time to the Rocket Hub. My MacBook, my iMac, my iPad, and all of them can feed and do stuff at the same time. We have like virtually no bog out, which is kind of really good. That's pretty amazing for all being connected off that box. You know, that's nice. So anyways, So considering we're out in the country, no man's land, and we cannot get Bell Vibe out here, we cannot get cable internet out here, you know, the weather can at times affect the Rocket Hub in a bad way, and sometimes in a really good way, because we get even faster surfing than what you just saw, and way faster uploading. So we try and keep our files small, so we use a program called Handbrake, which is an open source program, and it allows us to super compress our files to upload them to YouTube and still retain over 90, I'd say about 97 to 98% of the quality is still intact, which is still really good. So no complaints there. If you're first time watching this video and you've never really experienced the life of a Mac, you really got to try one out. They're a lot of fun. We get what's called a DMG file when we download from the internet, and we just double click to open it, take the program, and we can copy it direct to that folder by just holding and then placing it where we want it, or we just copy it and it'll just place it in order when we get it there. Then you just take this same file, which is the one you opened, looks like a little drive, and just get rid of that, and your main program is still here in its compressed form. Now, very, very few programs actually run an installer to put crap elsewhere in the computer on a Mac. And most of them actually come with an uninstaller, but even if it doesn't, to get rid of a program on a Mac is open up the file where it is, take the program, and then just throw it in the trash can to delete it. Now, sometimes you'll be asked for your Apple ID password to get permission to delete it, which is good security, so your kids don't actually delete crap on you. Some programs have no security protocols, so they will delete those things on you. But otherwise, everything's self-contained in the program otherwise. You know, so when you go to view contents, everything about that program lives here. The chance of finding anything in your system folder for preferences is pretty slim to actually find anything anymore. Under OS 9, we had an actual preference file. So when you deleted a program, you just deleted it from the computer or uninstalled it, and then you still had to delete the preference file. Well, this you don't have to. You just ditch and go, or hit the uninstall and it rips it all out. No having to screw around. That's the one thing I can really appreciate about Macs compared to PCs. PCs put programs in a million different places, and it's like when you uninstall it, it doesn't ever uninstall all the crap, just in case you want to install it again. So it still leaves a crap load of stuff behind to just take up resources on you and hard drive space, and it's like, why? So I kind of appreciate the way Apple does things this way. Yes, you can run Windows on this particular Mac. It can be done. There is Boot Camp program here to do that. Now, under Yosemite, you are limited to Windows XP, I believe it is. Under High Sierra, you should have no problems running Windows 10, but I can't swear to that because I haven't tried it yet. But I do have Mac OS High Sierra on my iMac, and I do run Windows 10 on it. The reason why you'd want to run Windows on a Mac is there is probably programs that you like that are not yet still available on the Mac side, but they are on PC. Some games, in fact. I have a few games actually that they were available on Mac, but I didn't have a Mac at the time. I had a PC, so I bought the PC version. Because I did turn my back on Apple for about 10 years and went to the PC world because of the gaming. The gaming was far superior on PCs, and it always was when it came to hardcore stuff until such time as Apple finally switched over to OS X and Intel chips. Once they did those two major moves, the PCs are now the laggers and the Macs are now the performers. And in some cases they are actually equal machines in that sense, depending on the game. You know, so that kind of reignited my love into the Apple world again, and I bought an iMac, and you know, and now I've got this, and I've got other devices from Apple, and you know, and here's another clincher for you. If you live in the country where I do, we first moved in here, just as a side note, we had Android phones. We could not keep a connection to a phone call, and half the time we couldn't even get a bloody connection. We switched over to iPhones, even the iPhone 5S. And we've not had any problems with connections other than the odd drop spot somewhere in the house, or it's just kind of a weird thing that way. But we only get the very odd call that ever gets dropped on us, where the Androids, good luck even getting a signal most of the time. We had actually what I would consider the most powerful Android phone on the market, which was actually the Google Nexus 5s. And they did work, but not very well. I have friends who come here with their Samsungs or whatever other Android phones. They can't even get cell service when they're here. So it's kind of like Apple's superior in that sense. So we love our iPhones because we don't have a problem that way. We just get the odd time it just kind of goes no service on us. Very rare, but So anyways, back to this. 4 out of 5 is where I put this MacBook Pro. Current retail value on this thing right now, the selling price on the used market, anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500 depending on condition. This one would be considered one of those $1,500 ones because it's absolutely pristine, like it came right out of the factory kind of deal. Power supplies are cheap for this thing. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get a replacement power pack if you ever kill this one. And being magnetic system, doesn't matter which way you plug it in, and you will never break a connector inside your PCB board anymore. When Apple switched over to this magnet system, at first I thought it was a kind of a stupid joke, but then I started to see the sensibility behind it, and then I looked further into it, and it's like, wow, it doesn't matter which direction I plug it in, and it actually is a fairly strong magnet, although it's not massive strong. It's more than enough that, it doesn't yank out that easy, okay? So it's going to stay secure. At the same time, you don't have to deal with the old-fashioned style plugs that if you rammed it with your hand, or you forgot to unplug it, you pulled your laptop off the table, you gave that thing a yank, it snapped back at you, it wrecked your PCB board. You just screwed your laptop. This doesn't matter. You move your laptop and it'll come right off. It's not causing any harm. Now, if only they could implement this technology into the PC laptops, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? So, but anyways, I like to use an external mouse myself. The trackpad is nice. It does work rather well. So you can just click and hold and use your other finger to drag it down, unless you can do it with one hand. Push and hold on the button, on the pad, and then you select empty trash, and then you can say either cancel or empty it. It'll always give you that opportunity, unless of course you want to turn that feature off. I preferred having it on, just in case, because once you delete it, it is gonzoed. So, anyways, the display, the colors, everything is great on this thing. It's not a very heavy laptop for a 17-inch. This is actually probably, well, I wouldn't say half the weight, but pretty close to half the weight of my Dell Precision laptop I used to have. And that thing was a beast, thing weighed like a couple of bricks. This is quite nice. Closing the lid, very simple, easy. Little Apple logo in the back, it lights up. I kind of like that, actually. I wish my iPhone did that. Actually, there's a kit I can get for it, but I'm not going to hack into my iPhone just for that. Very slimline, though, very nice. I think Apple does need to come up with different color choices without having to buy, like, these extra little clip-on thingies. I think they need to come up with some different innovative ideas for color of computers, like blacks and blues and, some other options out there, right? For color. Not so silver all the time. But other than that, I don't mind it, at least it's easy cleanup, so that's not a big deal. Getting access to the battery, I have a video on that. Apple does encourage you to upgrade your own RAM now, hard drive, replace your own CD-ROM, and of course replacing your own battery. This saves you a boatload of money at an Apple dealer, and it's easy to do yourself. Okay, and there's pretty much a tutorial video anywhere to cover any of the Apple laptops, okay, on how to do that. I actually have a video too on how to upgrade the RAM in your iMac. So if you're wondering how to do that safely and easily, away you go. The RAM I bought for this was actually Apple RAM. Paid $100 for two 4 gig chips. It was definitely worth it. Made a huge difference. But you would not want this as a 4 gigabyte memory machine. Maybe with Leopard, but not with Yosemite. Yosemite will bog you at 4 gigs. At 8 gigs, comes right back to life. It should work fine with Sierra on 8 gigs. Sierra did bog me a little bit on my iMac with 8 gigs RAM on my iMac. So when I went to 16 gigs, everything's running full bore again. So 16 gigs is kind of the trick on an iMac for Sierra. I know Sierra will bog a little bit on this thing without even trying it on 8 gigs, because if it did it to my iMac, it's going to do it to this. You know, but still, I mean, I'm running Yosemite on this for as long as I possibly can until I have no choice but to upgrade to High Sierra. So there you go. So anyways, yeah, great little machine. I really like it. You can't buy 17-inch Apple laptops anymore. Apple quit making them. We don't know why. 17 inches is a great size. I mean, depending on what you're doing, I guess. But me, I like 17-inch, especially playing video games on. But for some reason, a lot of people are demanding smaller and smaller stuff. But the problem with smaller and smaller stuff is it's getting a little too small. So I like a little bit bigger myself. So, but you can find a lot of these 17-inch laptops used, and you probably find a few more of them that are refurbished somewhere too. You just got to hunt around the internet. That's all. But you know, check it over really carefully before you pay for it. But this thing in cherry condition with 4 gigs of RAM and a half terabyte cherry condition is around that $1,500 mark. You might get it for 12 or 13 the odd time. You're not going to drop much below $1,000. Now I am talking Canadian prices too here, by the way, just in case we got some Americans watching. This is Canadian prices. So, but yeah, definitely a win-win. Light up keyboard is really cool too, especially at night. It's like I can type here and do stuff in the dark. So it's kind of nice. Usually you saw those in gaming machines more than anything for light up keypads, but Apple did it in this one. No complaints there. So thanks for watching, and hey, if you got any questions, you know, feel free to ask. I'll do the best I can to answer them. If you want to know about upgrading your memory in this and how to do it, I have a video on my channel. Search it out. I show you how to go through doing that. Same as the iMac. I have a video to show you how to do that one too. And we'll just continue on. So have fun. Thanks again, and we'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.